They're selling hippie wigs in Woolworths. Examining the textual elements of Bruce Robinson's film With Nail and I, 1987, with how it invites a reflective, nostalgic impression of the death of the 60s in Britain. Bruce Robinson's 1987 film With Nail and I opens in Camden Town, London, 1969, introducing two struggling young actors who share a frighteningly disgusting flat and a life of debauchery. The film follows the two characters' accidental holiday to North Yorkshire and the breakdown of their friendship when one comes to realise their lifestyle is unsustainable. Robinson shares the impression of an era not of miniskirts, rock and roll and retro modern furniture, rather what happens when this era comes to an end, which he establishes through the film's textual elements. With Nail and I is a clear example of what Svorna Boym refers to as reflective nostalgia, as she suggests that this is a form of nostalgia is more about individual and cultural memory. Robinson throughout this film is able to explore his own memories of the 60s, presenting to the audience a more honest and bleak image of what it looked like when indulgence that the 60s offered to people turned into excess, and how a select few characters are preparing for the end. For example, a major textual element that shows the bleak reality of the character's life is the flat they live in. Robinson's use of mise-en-scène to build the background of the shot establishes the filthy lives they choose to lead. The overwhelming littering of random objects with no consensus of decoration creates this sense of confinement. The cold, muted tones are there in place to represent the decay of the 60s and the bleak nostalgia. They have trapped themselves in a cynical game of heavy drinking, rejection, signing on, which they associate with the liberal era, suggesting it's sort of fashionable. Even Redgrave is doing it. Boym goes on to suggest a reflective nostalgia, like Robinson, cherishes shattered fragments of memory and temporalises space. The depiction of an era in this film is made up of memories of a time which he presents through the film's textual elements of filth and surplus. His memory is fragmented to recall not just the collective memory of the golden age, but the uncomfortable underbelly of the reality of the 60s. Boym suggests how reflective nostalgia can be ironic and humorous, which in this final sequence, despite the melancholy shared amongst the characters, the textual element all point to the irony of the despair. The camera is held on the static close-up shot of Danny's face. He too, a protagonist. He is the two protagonists' hippie friends and a drug dealer. Despite Danny being dressed differently to his bohemian counterparts with tight crop top and velvet furs, the costume in the sequence all reflect a time gone by, their flamboyance feeling out of place, adding to the disarray and comic of their lives. For example, Danny rolls the Camberwell carrot, which is an extremely large marijuana cigarette. As he passes it around, the audience come to see that this lifestyle has now been manifested into a comedic level of excess. As the carrot is passed around, with Niall's friends find out he secured a role in Manchester, resolving the narrative and breaking the cycle of debauchery. Robinson's use of reverse shot close-ups, which is sustained for just a little too long, making the audience again aware of the passage of time, which is causing the death of the era. During the close-ups, Danny's character offers the final summary, with the irony of the most stereotypical 60s character announcing the death of his own era. They're selling hippie wigs and Woolworths. The greatest decade of human history is over, showing how this fits into Boym's argument that reflective nostalgia is a mediation of history and a passage of time. The final scene opens with pathetic fallacy. As they walk to the train station, this drives the misery and despair which is held by Withnell. The diegetic sound of the rain further emphasises the mourning these characters are feeling, with the added non-diegetic sound of soft piano emphasising the despair. Withnell's closing lines are a soliloquy from Hamlet. The speech is marked with a profound disappointment, revealing Hamlet's disillusionment with himself as he compares them to what he thinks are human ideals. The close-up on the dolly zoom as Withnell performs a soliloquy is potent. As he clutches to the bottle of wine, there is a focus on the loss of self-destruction and its acceptance that a time has now passed which he can never reclaim. It's a moment of melancholic self-awareness. This performance is nostalgic itself, but the cut in wide shot to reveal he has been performing this to the walls of Regent Parks makes this performance futile like the past 10 years. Overall, Bruce Robinson's 1987 film With Nail and I establishes this sense of distance from the 60s stated by Boym. As this drives Robinson to tell his character story, he is able to successfully narrate the relation between past and present, with the distance revealing clarity and impression which he has shifted to explore the excess and the debauchery which the 60s allowed for. Thank you.